Hello. Today's topic is going to be intuition. I did a blog piece the other day on my blog about the new moon and new me, um, about the changes that I plan to make in my life, or that have already begun actually, that I'm just continuing. And in light of the fact that my birthday is coming next month, these next less than 30 days, or actually, no, a little bit more than 30 days until my birthday comes, are a time for me for reflection. But I realize that when I talk about changes and my birthday and introspection, a big part of it is intuition. That's how I make decisions for how I'm going to change certain aspects of my life. So I thought that I would do a little video on intuition. A lot of people think of intuition either two ways. Either it's hogwash, or it's just hit and miss, it's a guess, or they may go the opposite extreme and kind of just live by the seat of their pants and call that intuition. My view of intuition is a little bit different from any of those things. I definitely believe that intuition is real. I make my decisions based on intuition, but it is something that can be honed. It's an instinct that we're born with, but it can also be distorted by our experiences and influences from the outside, doubts of our own, ego concerns, things like that. So intuition can definitely be honed and perfected. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. So first part is that intuition is part of our survival package. We have several things that we're just kind of innately born with that help us to survive in an uncertain world. One of which is the fact that we blink. The fact that our skin puckers when it's cold to retain the heat. There's certain things as humans that we're just blessed with that are just given to us as instincts for survival, and so intuition is one of them. Science is an ongoing, unfolding source of knowledge that we have, and we have not always obviously had the kind of advanced scientific knowledge that we have today. So humans were very much reliant upon intuition for basic survival, and that continues today. So even though we do have science, intuition still plays a big part in our survival. But I will say that science does come first, in my opinion. I don't believe that people should first go with their intuition. I honestly believe that you should do a fact-based approach first. Whenever you need to make a decision, you need to get as many facts as possible, common wisdom from people who have experienced the thing that you're planning to experience is invaluable. And I don't think that those things negate intuition. I think that intuition works hand in hand with the facts and with knowledge. So start with that first. And then go from there. So another thing that I want to talk about is how intuition can be developed. So I just discussed what it is and how it can be developed. So the number one thing that you need to develop a solid intuition is quiet. Okay, and by quiet I do mean meditation. Spending a certain amount of time in meditation. 30 minutes is best, 20 to 30 minutes. But any amount of time you can start with. You can start with 1 minute and work through there. Meditation is basically, Reverend Michael, who's one of my spiritual teachers, says that it's paying undistractable attention to reality. That can be a little nebulous if you're just starting out. So meditation is basically withdrawing your attention from the world and focusing on the quietness of your inner mind. And we all know what that is. When there's just nothing in particular going on, when you're not daydreaming, when you're not watching TV, when you're not thinking about anything in particular, there's a space there. And that's the space you're looking for when you meditate. And it gets interrupted by thoughts. And when we are just starting out, we tend to follow those thoughts and become either anxious or bored or we start laughing at some joke, we follow the thoughts. But as we become better at meditation, the thoughts come and we let them go right away. We don't follow them, we don't hold on to them. They will be there for us when we're done, but they pass by like clouds in the sky. So the better we get at meditation, we begin to become very comfortable with that feeling and sense of stillness. It becomes not something that bores us. It becomes not something that we need to fill with thoughts or words or noise. It becomes something that we crave. When you become adept at meditation, you find yourself actually craving silence. And it's something that is just developed over time. It's not something you can rush, and it's not something you can force, but it's something that you can allow, and it's something that you make space for in your daily routine through practice. So first thing in the morning, or as soon as you're able to. Some people do it before they go to bed. Some people do it on their lunch hour, so whatever works for you, but it tends to work best if you start your day with the silence, and then you carry that in your heart and in your mind throughout the day. But in addition to the quiet of meditation, in order to develop your intuition, you need actual quiet in your life. And so when you come out of meditation, then we don't spend the rest of the day with gossip, with entertainment, with idle noise, music. There needs to be a certain amount of quiet that you start to feel comfortable with in your life. That means maybe when you drive to work, you don't always have to be blasting rap music or rock music or any music. Just spending time with yourself, becoming comfortable with who you are, allows you to hear your own mind. You're not filling your mind with other people's thoughts. When you're listening to music, those are other people's ideas and other people's words that you're regurgitating. When you drive in silence, you begin to hear your own mind and become comfortable with that. So if you want to develop your intuition, become comfortable with the quiet. Secondly is being observant. Intuition is not something spooky. It's not magical. I honestly believe it's rooted in reality. Intuition is a quick summary of millions of impressions that we get, and we're not thinking about it. They're so fast that they're totally unconscious, but they are developed by being observant. So, and that's one reason why children and women tend to have better intuition. It's not because they're necessarily naturally gifted. It's because they spend more time observing. And that goes for any oppressed group, actually. The more power you have in this world, the less observant you are. The less you need to pay attention. When you are prey, for lack of a better word, as women and children are, they're subject to more danger, subject to the whims of the power structure. They need to be observant so that they can survive. Children know instantly if someone is trustworthy or not. Animals as well. And so women's intuition, it's not just based on our estrogen levels. It's based on the fact that we are observant. So if you want to increase the reliability of your intuition, just pay attention. And intuition works on its own, so you're not necessarily paying attention to anything in particular. You're just being aware. You're listening. You're watching. You're not, again, filling your mind with other people's thoughts. You're staying present. These things will begin to increase your intuition. Next is practice. Okay, so when we first start off, we have a lot of other people's thoughts. We have fears. We have expectations. So those things will speak louder than our own intuition until intuition becomes stronger. So you have to sort of just practice. If you get an intuitive hit that you need to do something, or that you should say something, or not say something, or not do something, whether you think it's right or wrong, do it. Obey your intuition, and you will learn through trial and error what it really feels like. What's the ego talking? what's other people's thoughts, what's your expectations. You'll be able to distinguish those things from your actual intuition with practice. So, for example, I am a motorcycle slash scooter rider, so I don't listen to music, obviously, when I'm, well, not obviously, some people's motorcycles do play music, but mine doesn't. So I'm silent when I'm riding, and I practice my intuition in traffic. So sometimes I'll be in a lane that seems slow, like I should change lanes, and I'll get an intuitive hit, no, just stay here. Okay, and so I listen to it. And 9 times out of 10, it's correct. My lane may seem slower, and the next thing you know, the lane that looked faster is completely blocked, or something along those lines. And it happens every day. So my intuition, I believe, has saved my life many times. But that's how I practice it. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. You'll start to know the more that you practice what's a true intuitive hit, what's a voice from the ego or fear or something along those lines. So practice. And along those lines, always obey. When you get an intuitive hit and you're practicing in the beginning, don't disobey it. It's usually right. And if it's something that's, life and death, then obviously, like I said previously, go with the facts. If you need to get surgery, that's not the time to, practice your intuition. I mean, go with what the doctors are telling you. But in everyday situations that are not life and death, if you get an intuitive hit, obey it. Because the more you obey it, the stronger it gets. The spirit, which is where I believe the intuition comes from, is the opposite of the ego. The ego speaks loud and it's insistent, but intuition speaks quietly and gently and is a gentleman, for lack of a better word. So the intuition must be listened to. If it's ignored, it will stop speaking. So whenever you get an intuitive hit, practice by listening to it and always obey. Okay, you won't be sorry. So those are my thoughts on intuition. I really hope that helps. If you have any experiences with listening to your intuition, I'd love to hear about them. And I hope you have a beautiful and peaceful week, and I'll see you next time. And remember that you are loved, you are necessary, you matter, and we need you here. We need your contribution to this world to make it a better place. Peace and love. Bye-bye.